Alcohol. How'd you quit drinking?
The demons don't have control over me. I have control over them.
I had tried taking my life 3 times.
You're worth what you work worth.
You talk negativity. You talk, I can't, I won't, I'll fail. That's what you're going to get.
The most important thing is what you feed your mind.
I came home, I had a gallon of whiskey.
Words is, are you okay?
Thank you.
And that is so powerful. I mean, it is.
My brother quit.
Just quit cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Drugs and alcohol wasn't the problem. I was the problem.
So what was your name? Caleb?
Caleb.
Honaker. All right. So, Caleb what?
Honaker.
Honaker.
Yeah.
Caleb Honaker. Okay. So Caleb, just, I mean, when you responded to me and got with me, it was like, it was awesome to me because, it was like right at the time where I was like, I need to get someone that's, got the energy wanting to do this, feel like, they have something strong that is good for someone. And it was like, it wasn't even, you said you got through me through Eric, but when I posted that post, I was like, when you responded, and it was like, I didn't even reach out to you soon because I'm very bad about the notifications and stuff.
Too.
Like, dude, that's just like, it's one of them things. And then when I responded to you and we connected and I heard a little bit about, a little bit about what you have went through, not too much, but I was definitely excited to let others hear it,
Absolutely.
So, but, is it something like, did you get saved or something in church or something like, did you get a spiritual thing that helped you out, or you could start from the beginning, start what's comfortable for you?
Well, I grew up in a small town.
Okay.
I grew up in Hart County, Kentucky, Kentucky born and raised.
That's small.
It's pretty small. Yeah. So there wasn't really a lot to do for people like me. And I was always kind of on the outside. So I fell in with a bad crowd real early.
Yeah. How old?
13 is whenever I really started getting wild. But I mean, I went to jail for the first time when I was 10.
Yeah.
How
old are you?
I'm 33.
33.
Yeah. I went to jail for the first time when I was 10 years old.
It's crazy.
And, of course it was just dumb kid stuff, but, I always took things a little too far. And then, kids my age obviously wasn't really into the same things I was into. So I was always hanging out with older people.
Yeah.
And I really started tampering around with drugs and stuff, like I said, around 13. And it all started with pills. A lot of people talk about marijuana was their gateway, but it started out with pills for me. I was on so many different medications from doctors and stuff growing up. I grew up in the wild, wild west of mental health,
right?
Where they didn't really know what they were doing. They were just throwing darts at a board.
Yeah.
So they were putting me on all kinds of crazy medications growing up. And I remember one of the older kids that I hung out with found out that I was on Seroquel. And he was super interested in it, and it didn't make sense to me. I was like, man, right. And he was like, yeah, you can have them all. You know what I mean? I don't want any of them. Yeah. And then somebody kind of explained to me what was going on, and then I was like, well, let's see what that's about. Right. If it's worth spending money on, maybe it is cool. And then from there it was game over, and most of it was I liked the feeling of being included in something.
Right.
And I didn't have a father figure, like a lot of us, growing up. So I looked to these older kids and young adults as father figures, and, fear of disapproval and disappointing people. I was always willing to do anything. I can't tell you how many times I took charges for people just so that, cause I wanted them to accept me and be included. I fell for the whole, oh, you're a kid, they'll take it easy on you rap so many times.
Right.
I fell for that so many times, thinking that these people would do the same for me, but that's not the case. Like I talked about on the phone, I don't like to spend too much time talking about the problem. Anybody that needs to hear this story kind of knows what comes next. A lot of heartbreak, a lot of misdirection.
Right.
Drug use gets worse, gets better, gets worse, gets better, gets way worse. And it was like that up until like age 30 is where things really started to come to light for me. I was lost for a long time. And that was about the time that God started really trying to get through to me. And that's when I really started, for the first time in my life, I started feeling bad about the way I was living, but I was so trapped. I didn't really know any way out. I didn't know any other way of living. And I got real religious for a while, and I tampered around with so many different religions, just looking for something to call home. I was real standoffish against Christianity because I grew up in a Christian home. I had a rough home life. Didn't really jive with anybody in my family. I was always kind of a black sheep. Yeah. So I steered away from that, and I dabbled with some cringy stuff. Looking into Satanism and witchcraft and things like that. Just ultimately just real cringy. Just again looking for acceptance.
I get it.
Looking for acceptance in something that wasn't going to give it back.
Right.
But from age 18 to 30, I didn't really get in any trouble. I was real good at keeping my nose clean and my hands dirty. I spent most of my childhood in jail. At 16, I PFO'd, and they just locked me up till I turned 18.
They locked you up till you turned 18?
Yeah. When I was 16, they were just...
so 16 to 18, you pretty much was...
Yeah, I was locked up. They were done with me, and with good reason.
Gotcha.
I was a nuisance to the community. It was a good choice on their part. And then after that, like I said, I never really did do any better, but I never got hemmed up in anything. And looking back now, I know that was God that was keeping me out.
That kept you, yeah.
Yeah, because I was always either just left or hadn't got there yet whenever things went sour. A lot of times I really shouldn't have made it out of it.
Right.
Get by the skin of my teeth. Mm-hmm. And of course, in that madness, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm just that good."
Right.
What I mean? I'm just that good. I'm different.
But it's not that way.
No. And I've struggled with being terminally unique my whole life. I still struggle with it today. I have to keep myself in check a lot. And
I do too.
Yeah.
So don't think that, because of your life that you got to keep yourself in check. That's all of us.
Yeah.
That's all of us. Which,
I see it a lot.
Yeah. You can go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say that I didn't really even start thinking about recovery until I did get in trouble as an adult. In all honesty, it was something that I didn't even really know was real, if that makes sense. Like, you hear about rehabs and stuff like that, but I'd never known anybody that'd gone to rehab
and actually made it work.
Yeah.
Right.
It was something like you see celebrities do it.
Right.
So it wasn't even something I thought was an option for me.
And what made you think it wasn't like an option? Like, because you never heard, because you've heard of it, but you just thought that maybe it's something you couldn't afford, or that would ever be in that.
Something that I couldn't afford. I never had insurance. I was always I was always. You
just didn't think you would be that guy to be the one that's like, oh, I'm going to rehab, or I got a chance to go to rehab, or I run into someone that gets me to rehab.
Yeah, or just
or someone cared enough to.
It felt like it would be, for lack of better words, lame.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So go there then. What was the first? How did you get into rehab?
Well, I'd caught a couple charges, real petty charges. Me and my wife were homeless and struggling to get by, really at the end of our proverbial ropes. And I was having to steal food and stuff to survive, which I was always used to stealing.
Right.
But there towards the end there, I really stopped caring if I got caught. And I really, looking back, I think that was just God's way of putting me in a position where I'd have to stop and look at myself, because I was just taking shopping carts of food and walking out. Hey, where you going? I'm stealing this stuff, buddy. I'll see you later. Not even trying to be sneaky anymore.
I get it. Yeah.
So next thing I know, there's my picture on Facebook. Yeah. On LaRue County Sheriff's Department's page, and I, like an idiot, I got on there and commented. I was like, "That's a handsome fellow."
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So they found out who I was pretty quick. And I had some real petty warrants that I was like, oh my God, I got to go on the run. I got to,
Right.
you know, this is the end. So, you know, I fled and everything. Went on a whole wild goose chase and then ended up coming back.
Like
and
goose chase, like
running from people who wasn't chasing me.
right.
It was like a $20 criminal summons.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, it was real petty stuff.
Gotcha.
And I mean, we fled all the way to Gulf Shores.
Hey, nice place to fled to.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, I'm gonna go to the beach, you know. So we fled all the way to Gulf Shores. Ended up stealing a truck. We're having a wreck in D'Iberville, Mississippi. Fled on foot, got away.
Yeah.
Caught an Uber in the middle of the night to New Orleans.
Crazy.
Stayed in a hostel's lobby. They let us stay in the lobby. We slept for like 3 days waiting for somebody to come pick us up and bring us back home. And then finally it just got to where I had nowhere else to run. It's like, I've got to go turn myself in.
Yeah.
And I was worried about my wife. And so the plan was like, I'm going to go turn myself in. I don't know how long I'm going to be there. You know, I don't know what this is going to be like, because all of my experiences with dealing with anything legal was lock them away. They've always just wanted to lock me away for good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I get that.
so my plan was for my wife to go to rehab while I was in jail, so that she had a roof over her head, so that she was safe.
Right.
And then the whole time that I was in jail, which was only like 6 hours, I just kept thinking about rehab, you know, and thinking about these warrants. And actually, somebody had talked to me about Isaiah House and how they had a legal team that would help you with warrants and legal problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I got out, you know, of course I OR'd, so I was still, you know, I wasn't out of trouble, but I was still, you know, had court dates. And when I went to turn myself on that one warrant, I had, what was it, 5 warrants in 4 different counties? Something like that. Yeah, I had a whole lot more warrants than I thought I did. And they were all in, like I said, like 4 or 5 different counties. I had no idea. I had no car, had no job, I didn't know how I was going to deal with any of that. So I was like, I'm going to go hide in rehab.
Yeah.
You know, I went into recovery with zero intentions on getting clean.
It's just a place to go.
Yeah, somebody to help me out, get these legal stuff off my head, and free things up for me. And I remember when I checked out and I walked home, or well, to the place that we were staying. My wife was super excited because she didn't have to go to rehab anymore.
Right.
You know,
to see.
And well, you know, because the deal was, if I'm not back by morning, you're going to rehab, and then we'll link up when we can. So when she seen me, she was really excited about not having to go to rehab, and I was like, well, I think we're still going.
Right.
Because, you know, like I said, I got all these warrants. I don't know how to deal with them.
Right.
They'll help us out, you know.
Yeah.
And again, our plan was just go in there, do this 21-day rehab program, get help with these warrants and all that stuff, and then
be done.
back at it. Yeah,
we're back on it.
Back on the run.
Well, really not on the run, but back out on
a run. I guess I should say
a run. There you go.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
Back out in the madness. And that stay at Isaiah House for those 21 days was a proverbial nightmare. It was, I fought tooth and nail. I didn't want to be there. I wouldn't do anything they were telling me to. You know, like I said, I had no interest in being clean at all. I mocked everybody.
Yeah.
Really just gave them an unnecessary hard time, like I'm sure most people who go to inpatient the first time.
I mean,
do.
I did. Not rehab.
Of course, always had an issue with authority anyway. So and
same here.
And being there, man, it gave me flashbacks to being a kid and being locked up. Like even though I was there because I chose to be there, I felt like I was locked up, so I was even more standoffish.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it at all. Missed my wife. Hated being there alone. And of course, when you're first there, you know, you're in kind of a blackout period where you don't talk to anybody in the outside world, which is good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. Right.
But at the time, it don't feel like it.
No, I get it. Yeah.
You know, and my wife, actually, she ended up, because she went to the female's house at Isaiah House, and she ended up leaving early. She checked out, and like idiots, they told me. You know what I mean? Like, they never should have told me that she left early, because now I'm like, well, I got to go save her.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have no job or no car or anything, but I've got to go save her. You know,
They
and
don't realize how much they mess up when they say that.
They should have. I mean, it all worked out,
Right.
but immediately I was like, well, here's my excuse to leave.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So I checked out, didn't give him an option, begged and pleaded for somebody to come get me. And of course, my mom come and rescued me. Thank God for moms.
Yeah.
You know, I convinced her, oh, Tracy, she needs me. She needs my help. You know what I mean? Like who knows what's going to happen to her out there, which was scary because neither of us had phones.
Yeah.
We didn't have any way of communicating.
Right. It's a little different than
You know, we just had this general plan of we'll meet back at the trap house.
Right.
So that was the first thing I did is I went back to the trap house,
And there
and
she
sure
was.
enough, you know, we met back up at the trap, and immediately relapsed right out the gate immediately. After convincing myself and everybody else around that I wasn't going to. You know, it wasn't like that. I'm done. I know I'm done, but we relapsed immediately. And that was a humongous eye opener.
Really?
That was the very first time in my life that I realized I actually had a problem.
Right.
And what a tremendous grip drugs had on me.
That it had on you.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
That's what I say, like I guess relapse is a bad word.
Yeah.
Because they say there's a difference between a lapse and a relapse.
Right.
A relapse is whenever you completely let go of everything and you go back out there on a full run. A lapse is whenever you do it that one time
And
and
you're
it
like-
scares you straight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it did. It scared me tremendously.
That's awesome. That's God.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, because he knew that I needed that
scare.
one little reminder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course, in the back of my mind, the whole way there, I knew I was lying to myself. I knew I was lying to everybody else. I just didn't want to admit it. And this brings it to the first thing that popped in my the first thing that popped in my head whenever we used again was something that somebody told me that once you get into recovery, you'll never get high again. You might use again, but you'll never get high. It'll never be fun. You'll never have a good time.
Oh, I got
It's
what you're
never going to
saying.
be a pleasant experience. It is just going to be an endless nightmare of guilt every time you use again, and that's exactly what happened. And then all the cliches that I'd heard in just the 20 or so days that I was at that inpatient just kept running through my head. And I remember sitting at a park in Elizabethtown, crying my eyes out to Tracy, and telling her, you know, look at how I just remember telling her, like, look how easily we just threw everything away. You know what I mean? We knew we were going to do this. Let's not lie. Don't lie to me. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right.
We both knew this is exactly what we were going to do as soon as we got here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And enough is enough. Like this is not a sustainable life.
It's just what we want, right?
Yeah, this is not sustainable. Like I want a real life with you. I want to own things. I want to have a house. I want to have a car.
Right.
Like and if it wasn't for my wife, and I know this is, you know, not the way most people suggest looking at it, but if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have wanted to get clean. You know what I mean? Because I was okay living that way. I'd lived that way most of my life, you know.
Right.
But to see
Even as a kid.
someone so beautiful, and to see someone so beautiful that I cared about so much living that way was just, it was heartbreaking.
It hurt you.
There were so many moments where
Doing
we
it for
lost
you.
everything. Yeah, there were so many moments where we lost everything, which I'd lost everything so many times that it didn't even hurt anymore. You know what I mean? It was just like, well, you know, start over again.
Right.
But to see that hurt on her face of losing things that had sentimental value, things that were irreplaceable, grandmother's jewelry, stuff like that, like,
Right.
it just had happened so many times. I carried that guilt with me for a long time. So there we are crying, just both sobbing in the middle of this park. People are walking around.
You know what?
We are sobbing.
It's awesome.
You
These
know?
people don't even know what's going on, and you're like literally like God has got a hold of you right now in a park, and people walking by don't even realize it.
Oh yeah. People were looking at us like we were crazy, and we were.
Yeah.
We were like
It's awesome,
we were
though.
just two people who were
it.
at the end of their rope, and we made a promise to each other right then and there that we were gonna do this right. And the deal was if you use again, I'm leaving you.
Right.
If I use again, you've got to leave me.
Right.
You know, it's as
done.
simple as
It's
that.
over.
Yeah, we both deserve better, and if either one of us are going to prohibit the other one from achieving that, it's got to go.
Right.
You know, what's important needs to be ourselves. So, we skipped inpatient this time and went straight to a sober living. And the first sober living we went to was Victory Lanes. Was Victory Lanes in Bowling Green, which is a great program.
Right.
But it's not for couples. So, needless to say, like we had big beef with being separated.
Right.
And although we knew we wanted to be clean, like we knew we didn't want to use anymore, neither of us were really prepared to start working on ourselves yet.
Yeah.
You know, so needless to say, it didn't work out.
Right.
And we started immediately looking at. We didn't even know about couple sober livings at first, and then we had heard about there was sober livings for couples. So we're like, well, clearly that's our answer. That's what's wrong here. It's the fact that we can't be together.
Right.
And that was not what was wrong. Like,
right, I got you.
Recovery should be a solo experience. It is a solo experience.
Yeah.
You know, like you if you have a partner, you can both do it together, but you both have to work on yourselves individually.
Individually, yeah.
And neither of us were trying to do that.
That's awesome that you see that now. You
Oh
know?
yeah. And I tell people that all the time, especially in different programs I was at for couples. You know, once that clicked, I tried to help a lot of people with that. Like you guys are trying to work on your relationship, and that's not the time right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Work on yourselves, and then afterwards, if a relationship between the two of you is still something that's a viable option, that's when you work on that. You can't fix something with two broken pieces. You know, it's not going to work out that way. So we go to a couple sober living in Lexington, and it was still the same old fight. Problems with authority. I was always trying to right the world's wrongs. You know, in the big book, it talks about the actor who runs the show,
right?
And that was me to a T. If everybody would just shut up and listen to me, I know how everything's supposed to work. Like I can fix everything, but you guys aren't listening to me,
right?
You know, instead of just sitting back and practicing the serenity prayer. You know what I mean? That's been the biggest tool in my arsenal of recovery is that serenity prayer.
Serenity prayer.
You know, the wisdom to, let me start over.
Yeah.
The serenity to accept the things that I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That little part right there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Being able to realize what you truly are in control of, what you truly have an effect over versus things that are out of your control that is a waste of your energy and your time.
Yes.
You know, and at the end of the day, the only things that you can control is you, yourself, and the way that you respond to things.
Yep.
And it wasn't clicking for me.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to right intentions, wrong move. You know, I always had good intentions. My whole life, I always had good intentions.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just went about them the wrong way. And then we went from that program to another program, just bouncing around program to program, getting kicked out left and right because we didn't know how to behave. I say we, but mostly me, because I didn't know how to behave.
Yeah.
You know, I was loud, I was boisterous, I was aggressive, you know, just things
so
that don't work in a community.
That she pretty much she supported you whichever direction you went.
Oh yeah. She stayed right by my side.
I'm supporting you. If are we getting high? Okay, we're getting high.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing this. Oh, we're doing this.
Which put a big responsibility on my shoulder, because I knew, even though that we had made that promise to each other, in the back of my mind, I knew if I wanted to go back out, she'd go with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I knew that in the back of my mind.
And that's where, that's where it's awesome that you was strong. Your strength. It was, you know. Well,
it had its ups and downs, because it also created a level of stress that I didn't have to carry, because I'm not responsible for another person's actions.
That's what. Yes.
You know what I mean? And it was preventing me from being able to focus on just my recovery. I was trying to work her recovery for her as well.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's understandable.
My wife wasn't perfect through all this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's
of us are.
She's got a little bit of an attitude problem.
Yeah.
That's
human.
But anytime that there was any issues with her, there I was, you know.
Right.
White knight, you know what I mean? You're not going to talk to my wife that way.
Right.
You know.
Right.
How dare you?
Right.
So we got kicked out of tons of different programs. A lot of them were really, really good. Others not so much. The unfortunate side of recovery is there are a lot of programs out there, and I'm not going to badmouth any programs in particular, because anything's better than nothing.
And that's exactly.
Yeah, anything's better than nothing. But there
some
are a lot
work
of places
for some people.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
absolutely. Some
Yeah,
people need a
right.
different level of care.
And here's the thing: when you say that, and I don't mean it's, but when you know, there's no, okay. There may be some recoveries that's not on the same level as certain ones, but in general, they're all trying to help people. And so, like, if you may not connect with no one there,
Yeah.
you may go to this other and that's why it's okay to go to different places, because it's all about connecting with the staff. If you connect with someone there, it's like, dude, me and this guy, like, I like him.
You never
And
know where you're gonna find that person.
Exactly. So that's what I was,
Yeah, and
so,
and like I said, anything is better than nothing.
yeah. Right.
And there's some issues with programs that are in it for money. But like I said, even those have their place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It starts from a good place. It doesn't mean it's, same with anything.
But we ended up in the program we were in before this one. I beefed it again because I got back on Suboxone, which I had no business being on. I was already off Suboxone.
That's the
I was
toughest
already
thing, too.
clean. I have some mixed feelings about that. I know it's good for some people.
Well,
and I know it helps in a lot of ways, but I have mixed feelings about
No,
maintenance.
it's not. I mean, I get what you're saying, but Suboxone to me is been it's just another government thing that's been given out to say, here,
Exactly. Like, let us be your drug dealer.
Right. You don't have to go there.
And
We got you here.
I see so many people get stuck in that trap. Me included. I got stuck in that
so
trap
many.
hard.
I know someone stuck in it right now, and I mean, it's kept him clean, but his life is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but
your
how
whole
long
life
is it
revolves
kept?
around
See,
it.
it's kept him clean. Okay, he lives a normal life, but it's like that's only going to last so long. That's the problem. Once he does that, it just takes one little tiny little thing, and he's back off. You know what I'm saying? So you're not clean.
Absolutely.
No matter if you keep doing it and you think it, and that's the crazy thing that our government. And I hate to get all in on that. I'm not trying to get all in that, but that's just the facts.
Oh, we can get in on that.
Yeah,
We can go
have
there.
another. We could do another one on that.
We can go there.
We could definitely. We would be here for hours.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not trying to get off on anything. But I was just saying, like, in general, like, it's basically they don't care. They know that's not a fix. It's a basically temporary. Here you go, take this, blah blah blah. And then you're still doing drugs regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're just putting a bandage over something that needs sutures.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's not going to heal up right.
Exactly.
It's going to tear anytime it takes on any stress.
Yeah. So you finally, let's just go off onto, so let's go to where you finally actually, you went to rehabs, different, you've been here, been there, didn't work. You relapsed, did all that. Let's start where the one that did it,
Well, there was conveniently, that's right where we're at. As soon as we got kicked out of that last program, we had no programs left to go to, and we ended up actually going back to rehab without relapsing at all. And we did the full program, 8 weeks, and that was when something clicked for the first time. That was when I first started looking at myself. That was when I first started. I first started listening to God.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of just listening to myself.
Yeah.
That was when I first started to realize that there is serenity in letting go.
Yeah.
not just of the past, but of the present too. Especially in those early stages. And at this moment, I was 8 months clean, I think.
Right.
Seven or
So
8
you was
months
clean, but you still didn't get, like, it didn't hit you, and you was, that's awesome.
I was just
That's
an addict who wasn't getting high.
Right. You
Or
still had,
as they say in AA, I was a dry drunk.
right.
I
You wasn't there, but you
doing
wasn't
recovery.
doing it. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't
so
doing
crazy.
any sort of work on myself until that last time that I went there, and that was whenever we got into the program that we're at now, which really gave us a chance to really focus on ourselves. They gave us a lot of leniency to really work our recovery our own way. Even when we were doing certain things wrong, they kind of gave us that little bit of rope to slip and then kind of guide us right back, make suggestions. And being open to suggestions was a huge, huge game changer for me.
Right.
Because that was, I was gonna do this my way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even when I first got out of that program and went, or that rehab, and went to this sober living program I'm in now, I thought I had it all figured out. I was, my ego was through the roof.
Yeah.
I was bad mouthing different recovery groups like AA, NA. I had my own opinions on how you should do it, my idea at that time was it's all about God, which isn't wrong. You know what I mean? But God's not going to do the work for you.
Right. Exactly.
He's going to be there and help you do the work.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do the work for you, and that was my solution to it.
Right.
I had a horrible case of a radical acceptance, which that I know they say it's a good thing, but for me it was bad. I wasn't putting in any effort to changing anything. I was just like, oh well, whatever will be, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. Let go and let God, which is great. But again, I'm just waiting for somebody else to dig me out of my own problems, not willing to put in the work myself.
Right.
And then I met my peer support at this program, who I couldn't stand him at first. Couldn't stand him, hated him, because he wouldn't buy my BS. You know what I mean? I couldn't manipulate him. You know what I mean? I'd met my proverbial match. I couldn't manipulate him. He saw right through every facade I put up, and I hated it. Hated him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't get away with nothing, but that's what I needed. I needed somebody who was going to be like, you're full of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is BS.
And he straight just but he kept reminding you that he was. Like, he didn't let you slip. Like, he was like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just shut up. Like, why are you lying to me?
Right.
Like, you're lying right now. Why are you lying? Just do this and just follow these steps and everything will work out. And eventually it did. Being open to suggestions and being patient is what was the hardest for me to learn and what helped out the most.
Right.
Patience is a rough one.
That's
know what I mean?
bad for me,
Everybody
dude.
struggles with patience.
Oh my gosh, I'm the worst.
Yeah. And then when you pray to God to give you patience,
right.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're ready for that prayer before you ask for that one.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Make sure it's what you want, because he's gonna test you and he's gonna give it to you.
Right.
And that's what happened for me was I kept getting put in situations that were, I mean, they felt like they felt like curses. You know what I mean? They felt like punishments.
Yeah.
But it was looking back, I see now that it was steps. It was steps that helped me grow. Everything that I thought was this horrible, I can't believe this is happening. You know what I mean? It was an opportunity for me to grow and for me to learn how to roll with life's punches, because life doesn't care what you're doing, where you're at, or how successful you are. It is going to kick you, and it is going to kick you again, and then it's going to kick you while you're down.
Yeah.
Because life keeps happening no matter what's going on.
100%.
And being able to be in a controlled environment to where I could learn how to accept that life is going to keep happening without me, whether I'm ready for it or not, that's something that I couldn't have done without. You know, and although me and my wife are a little over a year clean, I think a year and a month clean. A year and 1 month today. That's right. The 19th. Awesome. Yeah, March 19th was our sobriety
perfect day to do it.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah. Look at that. God's doing it again.
That's awesome. Man.
But yeah, a year and 1 month in, but I can honestly say I've only been working an honest program and truly working on myself for maybe 4 months.
Right.
And that's how long it took for me to get it, you know.
Right. And the 4 months, that's made you like really just go, you know what? Like really be a big change. Like, you've been clean, but like the 4 months has probably got you where it's like, I'm 100%. I don't know why I thought I was 100% 2 years ago, but I'm 100% now.
Well, I try to avoid thinking I'm 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I try to avoid thinking that way.
I know. I shouldn't say that, because I know my buddy. He's the same way. He believes strongly about, it's baby steps every day. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna do that tomorrow. And, and I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that's big for, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't let me be the one to
I'm still a baby in recovery. Right, and I know that. Yeah, but knowing that is very beneficial.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you corrected me on that, because,
Well, like I said, I still struggle with ego and being terminally unique. Right. And I have to remember that I don't have all the answers and I don't have it all figured out yet. But the fact that I'm at a point in my life where I'm willing to learn,
Right.
I'm willing to accept criticism.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
Yeah, and listen to other people's stories.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed the most in this, see, this is mine and my wife's first time in recovery. Other than that lapse that scared us back, we've never
Right.
had we've not had, you know,
Like this
10,
type.
11, 12 relapses like a lot of people that we've
Right.
met on this journey have.
Got you.
And that's the sad thing about this disease is, it's a killer.
It's a killer. Yeah,
It's a
100%.
killer. And people get caught in these loops. You know, like I met so many people that, you know, it's their 15th,
Yeah.
16th
I
time
know.
in rehab, and you know, I've been in sober livings the last 5 years of my life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I was so scared of that being me, that I made sure that when I heard these people's stories, I did my best to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I see these people and I connect with these people, and I realize how much me and these people are alike,
Right.
and I realize how easily that
It
could
is
be me.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
tomorrow could be my undoing,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and you just never know. And people are dying in droves,
Yeah.
and although we all got to go one day, I don't want that to be how I go.
Right.
You know, I
right.
don't want that to be
right.
how my story ends.
Right.
You know, I want to leave something that's gonna make my family and my children proud. You know, and there's so much more to life than instant gratification.
Right.
And that was
No,
a big
yeah.
thing for me was drugs was an instant gratification. You know, for any problems I had, any pain that I was going through, that was an instant solution. It might not be permanent, but it was instant, and that was all I was ever looking for. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't want to do anything the hard way.
Right.
You know? And that's what life is. Life
And really-
is doing it the hard way.
Yeah. Well, and really, you know, and going back at that, really, it's like that's what messes people up. The biggest thing that messes people up is, and don't, I'm not 100 on this because I'm not like, I'm just, this is my belief, is what makes it tough on people is when they do get straight, then they get into life and it's like, oh, you got to get car insurance, this, oh, you got to do this, oh, you got to get a, you know, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what? Like I got, you know, and it's a lot of stress, you know, it's a lot of stress to have to do all these things that life gives us just to be normal. It's like, I want to be a normal person. Okay, well, to be normal,
Yeah.
this, and you're like, oh, hold on, maybe I don't want to be normal. But when you think about it, now I was never, I never had nothing that, you know, I was never addicted to anything like majorly. So I can't,
Anani, we call them.
yeah, I can't say, but what I have did as a childhood is kind of the same as you know what I'm saying? Like I did drugs young age, you know what I'm saying? I grew up, ran the streets, stayed locked up all my whole childhood. So I have a similar lifestyle other than just no addiction problem. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I still ran around, stole, did all kinds of stupid stuff, you know, as a kid. So it's kind of like when you were saying that, I was sitting there thinking, man, that was me when I was younger, you know, but I didn't have a drug problem. For some reason, I could just go, you know what, I ain't doing that. I mean, so minus that problem. The reason I brought that up is because as I was running around the streets and being locked up and just that lifestyle, even my wife over there, we both, you know, there was times where we was on the streets and we didn't have nowhere to go and we were, you know, doing what we could to get food or whatever. Like I said, we didn't have a drug problem, but we still had the struggle problem. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm thinking, okay, in my eyes, we've turned our life to the point to where I have made successful. I started a business, you know, got successful somewhat. I still believe that, you know, like I still struggle, you know what I'm saying? With all kinds of things, life stuff and, you know, everything. And so, but when I look back at when I was on the street, it was like, what makes it tough is you a person that's lived your lifestyle okay, they go to recovery, they do all these, they hear this stuff and they're going, I can't do that. I'm just going to go back out on the street. Screw this. But then when you go back out on the street, here's the thing. You ain't really realizing. Let's add up all the stuff that you're going to stress about on the street. No place to sleep tonight. What you know what I'm saying? You can just keep going. So it's the same. It's not the same, but at the same time, it's like you're thinking, your mind's going, oh, this is much easier. I don't have to. Yeah, I can sleep in the trap house, or I can do this. But when you really break it down and you wrote down all the stuff, the stress, the things you'd have to worry about on the street, yeah, it may not be the insurance on your car. Okay, but yeah, you don't have to have a car, even in real life. You could have a scooter. You know,
but
I mean,
the big difference is I know that pain.
Right.
I know that failure. I'm comfortable in that failure.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can wear that pain like a blanket.
Right.
You know,
it's easy.
It's easy. It's
right.
easy.
And
you
so
know?
See how you said that? Same thing here. Once you get a house and you got these bills and the internet bill and you got this and you got these people hitting you up and these people are going and you're stressing. You're going, oh, how are we going to pay this bill this week? You know, whatever it is. Once you could be this, it's the same way. You'll eventually get down the road where you'll be like, yeah, but I got this pain. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no,
See,
it is
like
it
right
is the
now,
same, yeah.
Right now, if this was an addiction world that I'm in now, right, and I had to change it, and went, you know, I would speak the same thing as you. I'd be like, well, yeah, I can handle the stress of the bill collector calling me about my insurance or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's the devil you know and the devil you don't.
It's what you're comfortable with, and that's the problem. That's what gets people to go back, is because you're so comfortable. You've been comfortable with being on the street so much. It's still stress. It's still headache. It's still. Oh, it's so many different things. If you really think about it now, you can think about it, because now you look back and you go, that was miserable. Yeah, it was comfortable. I mean, yeah, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? But it was miserable to you. Everything.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you got to get uncomfortable. If
Yes,
you're
that's
going
the
to grow,
number one
if you're
thing.
going to grow in any way, shape, or form,
You have to get
get
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that applies to everything: lifting weights,
Yeah.
growing plants. Plants grow in dirt and rain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what makes them grow, and we're
Yeah.
the same thing. You know, actually, I watched this this guy. This preacher, he was giving a sermon. He was talking about uncomfortable and growth and stuff like
Right.
that. And he was talking about, you know, God plants a seed in us, and in order for us to get that seed to grow, we got to put it through some dirt. It's got to go
Right.
through some dirt.
I
It's
heard
got to go
that,
through
yeah,
some
man.
rain. You know, it's not worth anything without being dirty.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing, not just with recovery, but with life in general. You know, you got to have pain and uncomfortability to grow, or you get stagnant and you get complacent, and complacency is a killer, especially when it comes to recovery.
Yeah.
I see people left and right take easy ways out, and I get it. I almost did it. I almost did it several times. I wanted to do it several times. Take an easy way out. Somebody's like, oh, you know, you've been doing this for 6 months. I'm proud of you, dude. You can come move in with me. You know, and then you
That's
can
easy.
find you a job. You know, and that's easy.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
but
an easy way out.
it's
Right,
not,
man.
It's not gonna
that's
get
good
you
thinking.
nowhere. Yeah,
That's
it's not
good
gonna get you
thinking, man.
anywhere. You know,
Awesome thinking.
you've got to have that struggle. We spend so much time avoiding stress.
Mm-hmm.
We forget that stress is what motivation is made of.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a healthy level of stress. Don't get me wrong. You've got to have that balance. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's what everything comes down to, is
Exactly.
balance. You know, where, you know, how much you can take versus how much you can handle. And having that healthy amount of stress is what motivates people to grow and to succeed and to have more and to live. Like that was that problem I was talking about. I had radical acceptance to a fault. You know what I mean? I had no stress. I had, you know, I didn't let anything stress me out, which, don't get me wrong, it was comfortable. It was cozy. It was nice just being like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
but
right.
nothing's coming from that.
Right,
You know,
nothing.
nothing's coming from that.
But it's comfortable at certain times, though. There's sometimes it's not. You know.
Well, when you start realizing that you have nothing,
right.
you know what I mean, and that you're not going to get anything.
If you want something, some people don't. That's what's even worse. You know.
Some people don't.
You know. You know.
Some people don't.
You stated. You know. You as a person that I want things. I want to be. You know. Different. You know. And have things. And you know. And that's the number one thing too, because that's the hardest thing is as people, you know, think, well, yeah, money's evil and wanting things and all that. But the thing about it is sometimes that keeps you straight and wanting to be successful. You want a pair of Nikes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, okay.
It's a part of like we were talking about when I first got here, we were talking about my car and I said that was the first physical blessing that I had. You're not gonna get those monetary physical blessings right out the gate, and that's where a lot of people struggle. I see in recovery is they're wanting things to fall into place quicker. They don't realize that the most important blessings are the ones that happen in here. These little changes that you notice over time
in your heart,
and once you start to appreciate those and you start to accept those and you start to really lean into those are the big uncomfortable ones too.
Right. Yeah.
Like when somebody gets a little fresh with you or talks a little out of pocket,
How
being
you
able
determine that,
able to remove yourself from the situation and who cares if they think you're weak? Who cares if they think that you're this or you're that? Life isn't the streets. Life isn't prison. That's not the wavelength that the rest of the world operates on. And trying to change that in yourself is one of those big uncomfortable things, and it's that big switch. That street mindset to that recovery mindset.
Yeah.
It's all about that perspective. Another thing that I see people get wrong a lot is they really, really lean into the I'm an addict.
Yeah.
And I do believe that is a part of it, and it is a humbling part of it. It's something that you have to go through eventually, being able to admit that. But to carry that with you into every aspect of life, you're painting yourself into a corner.
I'm glad you say that.
And I think it's important. Like I said, it has its place.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
There's this moment in time where you have to be like, my name's Caleb. I am an addict.
Right.
And there's times where it is applicable in life, but to completely identify as nothing but an addict, it's damaging in a way, because I don't like the mindset that I'm always going to be in recovery. I'm never going to be recovered.
Right.
And I know for a lot of people it's humbling and it helps remind them of where they came from. But I truly feel like eventually I am going to remove from recovery to recovered. I'm not there yet.
Right.
I'm still walking a tightrope.
Right.
But that's my goal, is to where this lifestyle and the lifestyle I came from isn't even in my mind anymore.
Right.
It's not something I think about anymore. And I'm already to a point in my life where I'm not afraid of relapse. I don't walk around terrified that it's right around the corner at any moment. I have the tools to deal with the situations where they come.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the job I work now, I work third shift in a factory. You have any idea how many drugs are running around third shift in a factory?
I can only imagine that third shift. Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, they talk about staying away from people and staying away from drugs and all this stuff. And I tell them all the time, like, that's not the thing. The coping skill of avoidance isn't going to help you at all. Right. Because I don't know about, well, you said you didn't really have a drug background, but me personally, there's never been a job that I've had that I didn't walk in and on the very first day made eye contact with somebody and was like, that's my guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? That guy knows where the drugs are. That guy knows.
Saying I didn't have a drug problem, like I've done almost everything except for heroin, but like I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've just never had nothing's ever grabbed me.
Got those hooks.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I mean, I did. There was one time did some cocaine, and when me and my wife split up, and I kind of seen myself doing it like every weekend or whatever, and started kind of going, okay, this no, I'm not doing this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, just cut it out. But I don't get it. Like, I guess, man, when it comes with me, because people ask me, like, how do you, how'd you live that lifestyle and be around? I mean, dude, I've been around them all. I've like I said, lived that lifestyle of doing all kinds of drugs and partying and all that. And like, it's like, I never got caught up, but I guess it was always, if you can ask me, the only thing I could think of is why is I wanted better. I always looked at like, I mean, yeah, we partied and I partied and it felt good while I was partying, but then it was like, I was always that guy where it was like when I was sober, I was just like, man, why'd I do that last night, man? Or that was a little too much last night, or blah, 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 whatever. And it was just like I always looked at that. I've always just wanted to be that guy that wants what I got now, a house and a car. You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of that comes from self-love.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yes.
I think self-love is the beginning of any sort of successful, happy life.
Yeah.
Happy relationship. You know, you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself.
Right.
You know, and if you don't feel like you deserve better, you're not going to strive to achieve better.
Right.
You know, and that's a hard one for a lot of people, is learning to love yourself and learning that you do in fact deserve more. You know, just the fact that you exist is astronomical. You know,
yeah,
like that's
right.
that's worthy of love right there.
Yep.
And today I try to keep hate out of my heart, especially for myself. I've always been so hard on myself, and not in a good way. Like, you know, I'm still hard on myself today, but in a good way. You know, like whenever I feel like I don't want to get up and go to work, you know,
right,
get up and go. Quit being a baby.
Right.
You're like, get up and go.
Right.
Or when I feel like, you know, I know something's going to be good for me and I don't want to do it, you know, not allowing myself to put that off. I have to be a little rough with myself.
Yeah, no, that's all. That's definitely.
I'm not a ginger person. I'm not a very gentle person. So I got to be a little rough with myself at times. But there's a limit.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, there's a limit. And it's an easy limit to cross. It's really easy to go from motivating yourself to putting yourself down. I catch myself doing it a lot.
Putting yourself down?
Yeah. That fine line between being a little rough with yourself and putting yourself
like?
down.
What I mean, what do you describe that a little bit? Like, what do you mean? I mean, yeah, what do you mean by that? Like,
well, that fine line between, you know, quit being a baby, get up and go to work,
right?
Like, you know, stop being lazy versus you're a lazy baby. Like,
oh, like saying,
you know what I mean?
like saying, dude, you're just lazy. Like, you know.
Yeah, and I am. I
mean, I am.
I'm lazy. Like,
dude, I am too. I mean, I don't know very many people that can sit there, you know, and that's the crazy thing that people don't understand. Everyone has lazy in them.
Oh yeah.
Everyone. And you go to, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of, you know, like Joe Rogan and any of them, you know, like he gets up every morning and does a special routine and gets in the ice bath and all that, you know, and then Mark Wahlberg has his little thing. He does all this stuff. And I'm just referring to them because it's like, you think them guys ain't lazy? You think that them guys ain't got lazy in them? Yes, they do. 100%. Every person has it in you. It's all about how you know, let that take you over. You know what I'm saying? Even myself. I mean, there's been times where I've like, man, you know, do I really want to? All right, just, dude, get your ass up. You know?
Yeah, to recognize it and stop it in its tracks before it gets out of control. And that's what I try to do today is like procrastination, for example.
Yeah, that's a big.
I'm bad at procrastinating.
Yeah, I do too.
What I try to do now is like the moment I catch myself thinking or saying something along the lines of like, oh, I'll get it later. Go do it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't, the moment that I hear we can do that tomorrow, just do it now. Just get out of the way.
Yeah.
Just do it now. That way it's not hanging over my head, you know, and I'm not perfect at that, but that's where I'm working at the most right now is working on my procrastination.
Right.
You know, working on being able to balance, because at first, like when I first started, I went a long time without a job.
Yeah.
You know, and when I first started working again, there was this sense of entitlement to being lazy that I felt I had. Like, oh, well, I'm working. I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've got a job now.
You mean at the house or whatever?
Yeah, like doing work around the house and stuff like that.
Work,
yeah. And that's not realistic. That's not how real people live.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one's gonna do those things for you when you're out on your own. So
right. Yeah.
that was a struggle for me. That was a transition. Just being able to learn how to maintain that balance with work and home, and like right now, you know, I'm still in that program in Frankfurt. We actually will be graduating.
Oh, the program's in Frankfurt?
Yeah.
Because you stay in Versailles.
The sober living house that we
Is
stay
in
in
Frankfurt.
is in Versailles, and
Oh,
then we
okay.
have our programming in Frankfurt
you
where
go
we
to-
do our
okay.
classes and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And like right now, I work third shift. I work from midnight to 8:30 in the morning, and I leave straight from there, and I go do programming till noon.
It's awesome.
You know, and then I go straight from there, and I gotta clean, I gotta eat.
Right.
You know, and then try to get a little bit of sleep in before work.
Yeah.
And just
That's lifestyle
just
right
repeat,
there.
Yeah, and just repeat.
It's a different
You
way
know?
what you're doing, but that's lifestyle. Like people do, it's
Well, the way I see it is if I can put in the work to maintain my job, these classes, a functioning home balance, then by the time that I graduate this program at the end of this month, and we get moved out on our own, there should be no reason why I shouldn't succeed.
right.
You know what I mean? Like if
You will.
I can do it there, I can, and I know I will.
You believe in
Yeah,
yourself,
Yeah, I know I
100%.
will. I mean, I know that I know where God wants me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know what God wants me doing, and as long as I just keep my mouth shut and I listen to where God's telling me to go and what God's telling me to do, everything seems to work out for me.
Right. But
you know,
just remember, the devil's going to step in. I mean, he just is, and that's the biggest thing when you said, you said, I'm not scared of relapsing, or that because you're, and that's cool. But don't be scared of the devil stepping in, not be to get you to relapse. Just all different kinds of things. I mean, he steps in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But I shut his ass down.
yeah, and see
And
that's
that's
the
just
thing.
the bottom line. That's what you gotta understand. You're like, no, I don't
See,
care what happened.
A lot of people
I'll-
think that God's the only one who gives out blessings, but the devil gives out blessings
Yeah, that's
too.
what I'm saying. You could have everything going, and you think you about to get this house, and all of a sudden, bam! What you think? Oh, and God's like, I'm sorry, man. Blah blah. But the thing about it is also, God's not. He's not. He's also kind of. He's not holding your hand. You know what I'm saying? So, things can happen, and He may
they
let
will
things happen to see how that your strength is. Okay, I'm gonna bless you. I'm gonna do this for you. No, you're not getting that house. That was my wife's perfect. Like she wanted it. That was us.
Yep.
What do you mean? That messes people up. People think, oh my gosh, why didn't you give me that? God, no,
Yeah,
sorry.
like you get to pick and
Do you
choose
still
your
trust
blessings,
me?
yeah.
Do you still trust me?
But I've noticed in those moments, because I've had plenty of those moments in this past year doing recovery where I had my heart set on something that I felt I deserved and that was this this is my moment, and then it gets stripped right out from under me, and I'm just there holding the bag like
really?
what was that about? You know what I mean? Like I thought we talked about this. You know what I mean? I told you this is what I needed, and I'm doing the things, but
Sorry.
and then not long after that, a better blessing happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I don't let that get me down and I keep fighting, there's something better coming.
Yep. 100%.
One of the things I try to remind myself of on a daily basis is as long as I'm constantly doing the next right thing, and I'm walking with God and I'm doing what God wants me to do, I am never ever gonna have to face consequences for my actions.
Yep.
I may receive. That's not to say that bad things won't happen.
Nope, you're right.
But bad things are never going to happen as a direct consequence of my actions.
Yep.
And 9 times out of 10, those bad things that happens usually end up being blessings that I just don't understand at that moment.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You nailed it, man.
I just don't see that full picture at that time.
Yeah.
And it never fails. Like whenever these bad things happen, and I stick and stay, and I keep fighting, and I don't let it get me down, it always ends up being a pathway to something better than what I was trying to achieve before. And that's the big thing is just doing the next right thing.
Right.
Making sure that you glorify God with whatever you do. Make sure that you're a light instead of a dark.
Right.
I spent so much time in my life in darkness and spreading darkness and today all I really want is to be a light for other people. There's a Buddhist quote that I really love, and it says 1,000 candles can be lit with one candle without shortening the lifespan of that candle. And what that's talking about is it costs zero effort to spread joy and happiness. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't take away from the joy and happiness you have to spread that to other people. It doesn't
Right.
take away from your positivity to spread more positivity.
Right.
It doesn't shorten yours. It doesn't take away from yours.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, to me, that's what being a light in this world is about, is spreading that light to other people and knowing that it's not going to take anything bad away from me. You know, like I'm going to continue to be a solution instead of a problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, you seem like a really smart guy. So, like, I feel like if you just continue thinking and keeping your mindset the way you are, man, your things bigger than you think are going to happen. You know, may take a while, you know, but, you know, and a lot of times I believe that, and I tell people this a lot of times and they don't, some disagree and some agree, you know, in some aspects. But when a guy like you, like your lifestyle and the way it's, and your mindset, it's built for entrepreneurs. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
Like not many people can think and control. And so if your mind's built that way, sometimes that's, so like if you feel like yourself, you work a job, you work his job, and then you work his job, and you're like, man, something just ain't, like, you got to know that, you know, I'm just going to have to do something myself. You know, God may want you to do something yourself. You may have went through all that stuff to you know, to help others. You know, even if it's starting your own business or whatever, you know, but you definitely have the mindset to do that because I feel like that all kind of goes together, you know what I'm saying? Like living that lifestyle I think that's what helped me a lot. Like, you know, going through my lifestyle and wanting better to the point to where I end up, you know, owning my own business. I mean, I've been working for myself for 16 years, you know, and if you'd have asked me that when I was younger, running around crazy, I would have been like, no, like I couldn't see myself being in business for myself. I'd want it. Who don't? You know, but you have that, you're a smart guy and you have that mindset
Thank
where
you.
it's like, you know, don't hold that back. Don't think, you know, and like you said, love yourself, continue to, you know, I mean, talking in the mirror is like major. People don't realize that, you know, like it's just major. Talk to yourself.
There was a time I
You
didn't
know?
even want mirrors in my home.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? And
You know.
that's understandable, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like, but you need that mirror. It's like, I mean, to remind you, you know, you walk by it every morning. I mean, there's a guy that really speaks on, like, I mean, he says, there's three things, I can't remember exactly what it was, but one of them was basically say, you know, I love you to yourself 20 times in the mirror. He's like saying that this is like a major brain change that I can't remember the other two things that he said, but every morning if you did this, then it was like a major just, you know, and he was more talking about not recovery or anything like that, but more successful. So you're doing the same thing. What you're learning is the same. You're learning how to become, you're learning how to transition from your lifestyle to recovery, right? But what you're learning is the same thing to be successful in your own business.
I've noticed that.
It's the same. You're just training yourself to you know, right now you're training yourself. They're helping, you know what I'm saying, for you to be a better person. But it's the same aspect, like if you wanted to take it and become something even bigger, you know what I'm saying? You could do that, you know what I'm saying? Very simple, you know? I mean, it's just doing the same thing as you're doing now and feeding your mind with the best information. That's why this is so powerful to me, doing this, because the most important thing, yes, recovery is all important, but to me the most important thing is what you feed your mind. When you go on Facebook and you go on your phone, and you know, what do you enjoy, you know, listening to and looking at, you know, like you said, you know, a minute ago, you know, you like, you know, you do music, but you kind of not really went to that area because it can, you know what I'm saying, like some of the music maybe you've done or listened to, You know what I'm saying? That's big, dude. You can't try to recover and then turn around and all you're doing is listening to Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Because all Lil Wayne's talking about is doing pills and doing all this. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I was super standoffish to that at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
But it's so
I'm
true.
smart enough to understand the difference between fiction and reality, but it's true. It's true.
You're feeding your mind. That's what I'm saying. Like, and don't get me wrong, dude. You're talking to a guy that I like all kinds of music, and I ain't gonna sit here and tell you that there's not a Lil Wayne song that I would listen to.
Yeah.
But my mind's strong enough to the point to where if I do, I don't care that he's talking about that. I like the beat. But like a lot of times I don't really care for some of that stuff anyways. Like if it's, I mean, even as younger, you know, I did, but like now when I hear some of them talk certain things, I'm like, dude, I do not like you, you know? And so, you know, and I'm a major Jelly Roll fan, okay? Because Jelly Roll is from the heart, man. Like, real deal. He's from the heart. I mean, it's just, and the way he's did it and the way he's and God is, people don't realize the work that God is working through Jelly Roll, I mean, and Brandon Lake. Like, them two collaborating together was major. People don't even realize that. But anyways, that's off on another topic. But what I'm saying basically is like it's feeding your mind. If you listen to music that's talking about this, that's the most powerful brainwashing tool that you can possibly do. So I don't care what anyone says. If you are going through recovery and you're going to quit doing drugs and all you listen to is about drugs,
yeah,
you're going to have a hard damn time. It's just that simple. Now, not only music. Now, that's music. Music's a major because we all listen to music. Everyone likes music. So, yeah, if you could just change your music, that's it. It's so crazy. People were like, you know, so I can just change my music and I'll be fine. Yeah, 100%. If you change the video too, you know, change what you want to watch on, you know, I like this guy. Oh, he talks about pills and stuff. You know, if you're studying, you know, it's like my thing is like, if I was struggling with any type of addiction type thing, I would be trying to watch testimonies. And that's why I feel like when you go to rehabs, how many testimonies have you heard?
Oh,
how many stories have you heard?
So many.
Because why is that? Because it's powerful. Because you are feeding your brain with good information, with information where it's like, dang, I thought I had it bad. Or man, that's, you know, you're feeding your brain with good information. And so now you have the best technology that you could, good and bad technology, right? So you can take this technology, you can say this is the most evilest thing ever created, and it is in some ways, but it is also the best thing if you do it right, you know?
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
And
how
so,
you use it.
yeah, you could sit here and just watch videos and about testimonies and motivation videos. You said being lazy. If you was to study motivation videos every day, like you just got up, you know what I do sometimes? I'll take and just on my way to work or even during work, just listen to some motivation speakers. And not that I need it. I run my own business. So like, I don't, you know, but I do it because I want to better myself. I want to make sure that I'm, you know, I want to, you know, I'm here. I want to be up here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you should never be done trying to grow.
I'm never going to be done trying to grow.
And that's food for your brain and for your soul. You know, because those devices can be used for good, but like let's be honest, the algorithm in its base form is designed to steer you towards negativity.
Oh, 100%.
Because it breeds more comments, more likes, more attention. You know, no one posts a rant this long about how much they agreed with what you said. Right. You know, and it's designed to put you in a negative space, and I'm just as guilty as anybody of going down that rabbit hole. You know, and well, limiting what you're intaking is definitely important. What type of content you're bringing in, what type of music you're listening to,
it's major.
What you're watching on TV, like and like I said, that was one of those things that I was real like, okay, you know.
Really,
and then,
right.
Honestly, the first time it truly hit me and I realized was when I first got a car in recovery, and we're out riding around, and I'm listening to old music I used to listen to, and then the next thing I know, like all I can think about is using.
Ain't that crazy?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How right now, you know, just because using and cruising was,
Right.
I mean, that was my
And
thing.
people are probably out there hearing you, like, you know, and they're like, "What? I've not done that before," or "I thought that." But you're so right. You're so real because that's real. Like you could say what you want. You may not think, but that's so true. If you're sitting there listening to something, you're automatically going to think about, you know, you may not do it right then. You may listen to something but you're going to gradually, you know, it's so crazy. It's bad because, you know, like some of these rappers and some of these, you know, rock stars. No, I'm not defining any gender, you know, any genre of type of music. I'm just saying, like, you know, they all have their bads, but if you know, the sad thing is some of these guys can sit here and I mean, you know, and sing or rap or whatever about doing pills or whatever, and you know, they're successful. So it's like some people are like, oh, well, you know, I mean, Elvis did, you know, I mean, Elvis was a big pill guy, you know, and died from that, I think, you know, overdose. But like a lot of musicians have overdosed from drugs,
Yeah.
you know, and so like, you know, that's crazy because, you know, you're listening to this and you've been in it's been pushed on you, like AC/DC and all these other musics. Like, let's say, you know, you may not listen to a group, but yet your mom listened to a group, and you're like, yeah, that's a cool song, Hell's Bells. Do you realize what Hell's
Guns N'
Bells
Roses,
says?
Mr. Brownstone.
That's what
that
I'm
whole
saying.
song's about doing heroin.
You don't
know
even
what I mean?
know this as a
No.
kid.
You're just like,
and you're
we've
just like,
been dancing.
you know, you're almost just dancing to this song that's like, it's cool, you know? And then you realize what, you know, I mean,
we as a country, we love a train wreck.
yeah.
You know, we love a train wreck.
Right.
You make a song about getting high and partying and loose women and all that. It's going to get a lot more attention than a guy who does a song about,
Exactly.
you know, any sort of positive message. And in a weird way, I think we're wired that way. It's probably a part of our caveman brain, you know, because it's you know, something we don't want to look away from.
Yeah.
You know, because it could become a big problem. But, you know, now we've got this sick obsession with other people suffering. It's glorified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember, because I've been a big fan of music my whole life, and I always knew that it was something I wanted to do. And for a long period of time, like, it was a sick goal of mine to be a member of the 27 Club. You familiar with the 27 Club? It's like most musicians, you know, get famous and well, actors too, but like they get famous and die by the time they're 27. You know, so many different musicians and stuff overdosed and killed themselves and lost their lives at the age of 27. You know, and I had this sick obsession with, like, that's, you know, I want to be in that club. I want to be immortalized forever, to the point that, like, I was sad on my 28th birthday. Like, you blew it. You know,
That's crazy.
You blew it.
Yeah.
Like, so there, as a society, we've got this sick obsession with the darker side of things.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's just the devil working. That's what that is. Like,
It is.
you know, the devil made that apple look real good.
Yep.
You know, and he's still doing it today. Different apple, but same tricks.
Right. No.
Different apple, same tricks. The bad, just it's glorified. It's made to look fun. We worship negativity in today's world, and
So crazy.
a lot of times for being a positive person and being a person who, you know, a person who love and compassion is important to, you're kind of looked down on in a lot of ways, you know, but that's where that self-love comes in, because you don't need anybody else's approval. You don't need anybody else's, you're not looking for any sort of gratification from anybody else, you know, and being comfortable in your own skin, and, you know, this is who I am. I'm not ashamed. And that's what God gives you.
Right.
That's one of the things that God gives you is the ability to to fearlessly be who be who you are. You know what I mean? And be a creature of love and understanding. And that's
Right.
that's a big plus with being able to navigate not just recovery but life, because you touched on it a little bit earlier about how a lot of the things that people are learning in recovery, transitions to being successful in life as well. And I mean, really, that's what most of it is. For most of us in addiction, like whatever age we started using, like for me, I started using at 13. We stopped growing up then.
Yeah.
We stopped growing. We stopped developing any other coping skills. We stopped learning any new way of living. So at 33, whenever I decide that I want to be clean, I have the emotional maturity of a 13-year-old. I have the coping skills of a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
That's why you're loud and boisterous and aggressive, because at 13, what do you know? Fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Fight or flight, and I'm fighting.
Right.
And that's just the outlook you have on everything, and being able to reprogram yourself and learn all those things again is the biggest struggle. Like we were talking about the devil you know and the devil you don't. This pain and suffering is a lot, but I'm comfortable with it. I'm safe in it. I know what's gonna happen. And this disease that we have is the only disease that you can get that you can come out the other side of it better than you were before.
Yeah.
There's no other disease like that. And you're kidding yourself if you don't think it is a disease.
It is.
But any other disease that you get, the best you can hope for is being as good as you were when you got the disease.
Yeah.
The disease of addiction is the only one where you can be better.
Right.
So many people that make it through recovery and truly get it and truly work on it and stick with it and stay with it go on to have very successful lives. You know what I mean? And now, that doesn't mean a lot of times we see success as wealth, fame, and fortune, but that's
Depends on
not
what your
success.
success is.
Yeah, but having a successful life that you're happy in, that you can hang your hat on at the end of the day. And that's what I'm in search of today is that life that I'm gonna hang my hat on.
Yeah.
Is it working in a factory third shift? No, it's not. You know what I mean?
But it gets you there.
But that's the step
where he's
I'm
got
at
you
now.
right
It's
now.
another stepping stone towards whatever's to come.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where my life's gonna take me at the moment.
Never know.
I know that I'm heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I know that as long as I'm walking with God and doing the next right thing, my destination's gonna be pretty dope.
Right.
Like it's gonna work out.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, the good thing is, when you're going through recovery, you have a lot of people that are on your side,
Oh yeah.
I mean, majorly amount of people. And people don't realize that, people that go through recovery, they're like, man, dude, I'm on your side and don't even know you.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like,
you feel
how many
alone at
people are
first.
out there that hear this are on your side? I mean, it's like there's so many people rooting for, a person that's struggled, that's getting out of a struggle, and trying to better themselves.
Yeah,
So
and I don't
you got the
wish-
support. You just gotta use it.
I don't wish addiction on anybody.
Right.
Let me just start out by saying that. I don't wish that on anybody. But the feeling of recovering and the feeling of new beginning and that support system, man, there's nothing like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just wish that everybody could get a little dose of that part of it, because like never in my life, like right now, let's say I leave here and I wreck my car. And now I have no car. I have no idea how I'm going to get to work, and everything starts to unravel. How many other people can go into a room full of strangers and be like, "Hi, my name's Caleb. I'm an addict. Here's what's going on in my life.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do."
Right.
And have a room full of 150 people who are all willing to help you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
these recovery rooms, these AA meetings and NA meetings and Celebrate Recoveries, they're the only places where you can go. It's some hellacious networking is what it is. You know what I mean? You need a car. Somebody in there either has a car, knows somebody with a car, and they're going to sell it to you, get you a good deal on it,
Right.
whatever. You need a place to live. somebody in there is renting a place, know somebody that's renting a place, gonna get you a good deal on it.
Yeah,
You need a job. Somebody in there's got a job for you or knows where a job is. Like, you don't get that anywhere. Yeah.
But you don't even have to, and that's if you, but you just gotta, it's just like life. If you got a problem in life, you gotta solve it. That's only your job to solve it. How else you gonna solve it? If you was on the street, would you solve a problem? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Car dies, something happens to that car, guess what? You're gonna have to solve a problem. It's no different than you have to find you and her a place to live or stay one night. It's the same. I got to solve a problem tonight. Got to figure something out. Car's messed up. I got to figure out what we're going to do. What we're going to do. You're analyzing. Yeah, I mean, it may be tough. You may have to do something. I don't know. You may have to, you'll make some phone calls and do all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if anyone's helps, it's like there's a solution. And if God sees you going through that, you're not just sitting there going, well, I don't know. I guess I'll do something. And you're just over, you're like, man, yeah, so-and-so, man. You don't know if anyone's got hey, man, and you're just kind of, man, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's doing this, blah, blah. And you're like really just trying to analyze and you're trying to, figure out your solution. Then, and God sees that, something's going to come in your lap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you may get another car, just all of a sudden just falls in your lap, somehow or whatever, There may be a reason. You may end up getting a brand new car because that one messed up.
That's like we were talking about those blessings you don't understand.
Right.
At that time.
You don't understand. So that's the biggest thing that people let get to them. And all it boils down to is, and you're not a weak guy. I can already tell. I've already talked. I can tell that, you've raised it. You're strong. You know what I'm saying? You're strong at everything you've done. You've made y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't get hurt. You've took her all over half the United States and you know what I'm saying? And made it. So you're strong, dog. Like you know what I'm saying? So that being said, you know what I'm saying? Nothing could, you don't let nothing get in the way. Period. You know what I'm saying? Car dies, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah, one of the things you hear a lot, in recovery is that if you tackle any of your problems with half as much energy and effort as you did
when you was on the street, yep,
you ain't nothing you can't do because you've never heard a crackhead say, "Well, I ain't got any money. No
they're
crack
gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
they don't figure it out. Right? It's the same thing. You're solving a problem.
Yeah,
you need crack today. Same thing. You're solving a problem. You need an alternator for your car. You're solving it. You're gonna solve that problem. And and that's where I was saying, like, you're a strong guy. You know what I'm saying? It takes a stronger mind and guy to go, you know what? We're gonna figure this out. I mean, everyone out there. You look at a guy, you walk in Kroger or Walmart, and you walk by this guy that's suit and tie, and you think he's some lawyer guy that you're like, hey, man, I'm gonna be like him one day, successful. And you're just kind of just stating that in your mind. But you got to think, that man could be going home trying to analyze a problem. He could be at Walmart trying to buy a bulb for his car because he can't drive his damn car because, I mean, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's dealing with something, and so and what defines people is strength versus, weakness. And it's like, anyone can have the strength, but it's like the weakness is going, I don't know what's up with my car. It won't start. I'm screwed. I don't know.
Yeah, giving up.
You know what I'm saying? And just giving up, And that's the way it works, period, in all aspects. It ain't got nothing to do with recovery. It's the way it works in general. If you give up, people, something goes on with a car and it's like, man, this thing don't start, and we're talking, let's just go to a person that's successful, okay, he ain't got no problems, but his car ain't starting. So he's got enough money to just go, you know what? I'm going to get me a new car, and he just takes that car and he just throws it off in the yard or whatever. And that's how you come across these cars sometimes where these guys go on Facebook and it's like, I don't know what, it just quit running, man, just give me $300. Next thing you know, you get it and it's like a little wires loose or something, or a starter. He didn't want to take the time. Instead, you know, his weakness got in the way, and he's like, I don't need this. I'm just gonna, you know, and so he had the money to buy a new one, but again, he was being weak, you know, and so a lot of us, every person out there has a time in their life where they're weak. You know, you gotta go. You know, you gotta be strong. You gotta go. You know what? I'm gonna figure out this starter. I don't want to buy no car. I don't want to spend $20,000 on another car, whatever it is. You know, aspect. In our aspect, and yours specifically, and I don't mean this no way, but you have no choice but to be strong. Your weakness ain't you can't be weak. You know what I'm saying? You can't go, okay, well, my starter went out, I'm just gonna buy another car. Screw this car. You know, and I can't either. I'm not gonna do that either. Like I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna figure it out. I ain't gonna put no thing to the side just because it's doing something. You know, I'm gonna figure it out. Same aspect of anything in life, and that's why I was just kind of going to like the car thing. But that's what that's why I try to explain to certain people. It's the same thing. It's just weakness and strength, and no one's stronger than the other unless they do it, unless they let that happen. You know what I'm saying? Like. You're no more stronger than me. It's because we're both human. We're both the same. It's just all in our mind. It's like, I'm going to be stronger because I'm going to do this. And, you know, you have the same mindset. I feel like that it's okay to have that mindset. Now, some people may believe otherwise, but I feel like it's okay to have that mindset of like, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to do this no matter what. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like taking that energy, like that tough man energy, you know, and using it like, shoot, I'm gonna do this. Oh, you know, and this is gonna happen. And that's my life, you know. And so, to me, that's powerful to be that guy, you know, that competitive type of guy. If it's, you know, if you're playing basketball or something, I'm gonna beat you, you know, and to me, it's strong. Okay, yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? If you that guy, you use that energy towards, you know what I'm saying, life. You know, I tell my brother that all the time. You know, he's that real competitive. Like, you know, we could play poker or any sports.
Younger or older?
He's younger, but we could play sports, and he's all like, "I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna," you know. But it's like, and he's good at all this stuff because he sets his mind to. I'm like, but he's struggled with addiction and all that stuff, and I'm like, you know, you just need to set your life with, you know, you need to be the same way towards life, man. You know. Be that same way. Tell life like that, man. Screw you. I got you. You ain't wrong person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that outlook. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for that outlook. That outlook of I'm not gonna let addiction best me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let this take me out. You know, I'm not one of the type to just throw in the gloves.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I can tell.
I've never been one to just give up and roll over. Just my methods have been misguided for so long, you know. But I've always had a move, always had a play, always had a plan. You know, kind of like I touched on earlier, right intentions, wrong move. You know, and learning how to reallocate that strength and that aggression into a positive force has been imperative. Like it's made a huge difference in what I've been able to accomplish and what I've been able to do in what's really a short amount of time. Because like I said, I've honestly only been working an actual program and doing the work for 4 months, you know, maybe 5. And so much has happened for me in that amount of time, and I've accomplished so much in that amount of time that, like, I can't wait to see where I'm at, you know, 5 years from now.
Right.
You know?
So the biggest
and I've
thing,
got I have a 5-year plan of where I want to be in 5 years, which I think is important. You've got to have big goals, but you also have to have little goals along the way. You can't just say I'm going to be here in 5 years. Right. You got to have a roadmap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yep. You gotta have something that's gonna help you get to that final destination, or you're setting unrealistic goals. You're setting yourself up to fail. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't just say in 5 years I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna make $100,000 a year. I'm gonna have a Porsche. I'm gonna live in a 5-bedroom house. Like, I mean, okay, that's nice, but like, you're not gonna be president in 5 years. Like, let's talk realistic. Like, you know. Baby steps, baby goals. You got to always be especially as men, and I don't want to get into gender specifics here, but as men, like we need success.
Yeah.
We thrive on accomplishment and you know, pats on the back and you know, recognition and things like that, and giving yourself small obtainable goals. Each one of those is a step in the right direction, and all those little goals are going to add up to something huge in the long run, you know. And keeping yourself with smart, obtainable, realistic goals is going to continue to help you feeling successful and like you're doing the right thing and you're moving in the right direction. Because just having one big goal for the distant future, it's hard to see that growth. It's hard to see.
It ain't happening.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, because you're going to get down on yourself because you're not going to see your small growth. Like growth takes time. You know, it's small gains, just like, you know, building muscle. You know, what I mean, you start going to the gym, you start lifting weights. I know I ain't got much room to talk, but you go to the gym and you start lifting weights. You're not going to notice it for a long time. Other people are.
Right.
Other people are like, man, you're looking swole, man. You're looking big, and you're just like, you know, you're just not seeing it yourself because you're seeing yourself every day. But anybody that goes a little bit of time without seeing you, they see that growth, and it's the same thing with recovery. It's the same thing with any sort of success you're trying to achieve. You're not going to notice those small victories. So having that little roadmap, as we said, that shows you your destination, your little GPS, that shows you 25 more miles.
Right.
20 more miles, take it right. You know, seeing those come up and being able to see how far you've come, that's where those small goals come in and they help out so much. You know, just little wins.
Yeah, I was gonna basically ask you what, you know, you thought that others, you know, could do when I say the biggest thing is when, you know, you kind of nailed on it a little bit, but like if someone's, you know, going to recovery and doing that repeat thing, like, you know, you did a couple times, but not much as some, you know what I'm saying? Like there's some that's repeated 12, 15 times. What could you tell someone to, cause you know, what could you tell someone to get them to stop that repeat?
Well, it's a rough one for me.
I know.
Just because it's not something that I have a lot of experience in, because I've not. This is my first trip through recovery.
I got you, but so far you know what's helped.
the most important thing I think is being willing to be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you know,
like we talked about.
Learning to be open to suggestions, because a lot of these people that I see that are on these, you know, repeat paths, they know the big book up, down, left, and right. Like by big book, I mean like the AA book, the NA book.
Right.
They know these books up, down, left, right, front, back. They can recite them. You know.
That's why I was asking.
I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've.
That's why I'm saying.
Full disclosure. I've not even made it all the way through either the AA or the NA book.
Right.
I've not made it all the way through.
Okay,
I'm
but
not a big reader,
fine.
you know.
That doesn't even matter.
But like these people, they have all this wealth of knowledge, you know, but it's all surface level. You know, it doesn't. They're remembering it, but they're not practicing it. They're not paying attention. They're not willing to be uncomfortable. They're not willing to put in the work that is required. Like, and until you get comfortable being uncomfortable, and until you are willing to fully give yourself over to a higher power, and I don't care what that higher power is,
right?
But until you realize that you yourself are not strong enough alone to be able to do this, and you're fully willing to let go and give yourself over to something greater than yourself,
right?
There's not much hope for you. And even if you do make it, like even if you do make it and being clean and being sober, I mean, these people are miserable.
Right.
They have
you're
no
basically
sense of
saying
fulfillment.
that you have to. So what's the key that you're pretty much given? Like, cause like that's what I'm saying. Like you're basically saying that is just letting go, letting them know that a higher power is that has to be able to help you.
That's the most important step.
Knowing that you're not, that this is not you by yourself. You can't do this by yourself. Knowing that I can't do this by myself, that I have to have help. Just knowing that pretty much.
And whatever higher power that is for you, you know, be it God, the universe, you
or
know,
a person of
Allah.
staff at the
Yeah. Or I've met people who the rooms themselves start out as their higher power. You know, AA itself is their higher power, and that's fine. The funny thing is, most of these people who choose, you know, out of the box things as their higher powers, as they stick and stay, slowly and surely seems to start turning into God. God
Right.
becomes their higher power,
Ain't
and
that
I'm
awesome?
one of those people.
Yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
the universe was my higher power for the longest time.
Yeah.
You know, because it was the only thing I could think of that I knew that existed and was bigger and better than me.
Right.
You know, and it always kind of seems to find its way to being God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the most important part. Most people I see they run on self-will.
Right.
They're not willing to take suggestions or do things any other way than how they want it done or how they think it should be done. And the fact of the matter is if your way was working, we wouldn't have met. Like if your way works, we wouldn't meet.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I just wanted to ask that because I was going to go ahead and pretty much, you know, I felt like, you know, that you know, a lot of people's dealt with. There's a lot of people that does the repeat, and you know, sitting here with you, I can just see that you're, you know, that you legitly get it. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I've been around a lot, you know, with family, more family than anything, and so like, I could just tell when someone's like sincerely talking, you know, unless you're just talking a good game, but no, you know, you do seem like, you know what I'm saying, like you have took the program a way that should be and understand, like, you know, that motivation and leaving it up to a higher power. So that's why I wanted to have you kind of give someone out there that could be listening, you know, the key, and that's pretty much, you know, you pretty much said it, you know, and so.
well, the key is in those books. The key is working those steps. I'm not a big book thumper by any means, and I didn't stay doing the traditional 12-step works like, you know, like they say, but it was the best place for me to start out.
Right.
You know, and starting out with, because I mean, the first 3 steps are something you're going to practice every day, and that's admitting you're powerless, you know, giving yourself to a higher power, like, and doing those things on a daily basis is what helps. So like, even if this working the steps ends up not being something that's for you, you know, or AA and NA as a whole ends up not being something that's for you, it's the best place to start. It's the best place to, because if you don't know where to go, it's going to send you in the right direction.
Right.
Like, it's hard to say that there's any. It's hard to say that there's any like definitive path because people are so different. You know what I mean? Everybody's so different. Everybody's so unique, and you know, what works for one isn't always going to work for everyone else. Like I said, I suffer from being terminally unique all the time.
And yeah,
but it's a great place to start. You just got to be open to something different. You got to be prepared to be uncomfortable.
Right.
That uncomfortability is a big. I mean,
that's a
big game changer.
Probably,
yeah,
that's the biggest. Yeah.
Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Because if it's comfortable, it's not been working for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What you've been doing up till now is clearly not working. So let's try something different.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if trying to do it this way has led you to relapse and failure every single time, well, I mean, why keep? Yeah. I don't want to use the old insanity cliche, but like, come on.
Right. No,
you
it's.
know,
I mean, it is though.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, you know, you got to see that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Caleb, it was nice having you on, and definitely look into having you more. You know,
yeah,
and just
I would love that.
You know, because you have a lot of knowledge, and just to kind of see how you grow through everything, and you know what God does for you.
Thank you very much, man. I do just want to do a quick plug, real quick, a quick little shout out, man. If there is anybody out there who's listening, who's who's struggling with addiction and struggling with where to go and what to do, I just want to point out Clear Blue Behavioral Health Services in Frankfort, Kentucky. That's where I got it. That's where it worked for me.
Good
There's a
people.
lot of programs out there. There's something different about what they're doing there in Frankfort. They've got the kind of a different approach to things. Focuses a lot on your mental health rather than your addictions, because our addictions are more times than not they're a side effect of our mental health, and there's a lot more focus on our mental health there. It's a great place. So anybody that's struggling,
Awesome.
definitely a good place to look
What
at.
was the name of the place?
Clear Blue Behavioral Health Services.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
In Frankfort, Kentucky.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it at that, man.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Thanks, man.
Like, okay, mental health, men's mental health. Has anybody asked you if you're okay?
No.
I went to jail for the first time when I was 10.
And ask yourself, yeah, are you okay? Ask
That's
yourself,
a
are
good
you
one.
okay? You got to be careful because that snake will get you.
First band I was in, I was 16 years old.
It's a lot of heartbreak,
Yes.
a lot of misdirection.
Right.
Drug use gets worse, gets better, gets worse, gets better, gets way worse.
My brother quit
Just
Cold.
quit cold turkey.
cold turkey.
Drugs and alcohol wasn't the problem. I was the problem.